Hi guys, I'm MC Crew of Truth, and I'm here today with David Snedeker once again from the Indoctrination. His YouTube channel is in the description, but also is his website, theindoctrination.com, where you can find out the many platforms that he streams from. David, great to have you back.
Thanks, Sam. Great to be back with you, man. It's great to connect always.
Yeah, always is. We always seem to have great conversations. Once again, we've come on to do to do a video, and we've just got lost in conversation before we could hit the record button. And it's one of those things you have to remind yourself. Come on, let's just hit record.
Just hit record.
We could shoot the proverbial S all day, couldn't we? Because
totally.
we really do. Totally. Have a good chat. It was really great to do the previous couple of episodes with you, and it got great reception. A lot of Snedheads came over and gave my channel some support. So I thank you, and I thank you, Snedheads.
You're welcome. And, they really liked the interview. So thank you for that.
I mean, well, it was a good interview, and also quite a few people had said to me, "Oh, I remember that guy. Oh, where's he been? How do I find him again?" So there was quite a few people that used to watch you that were just like, "Oh, I'd lost him. He went off the radar, as it were. Not that you actually did go off the radar, but they kind of lost contact with your show, and then so they were provided links." And so they were like, thank you for reconnecting me with David Snedeker. So.
That's great. Yeah, thank you for that. I saw some of that, and I was kicked off the radar a few times. So that's why, people, my biggest my biggest audience was Facebook, and I can't go even back on Facebook with my name. So I'm Paul Michaels on Facebook, which is my confirmation name and my middle name. So
ultimately blackballed.
Yeah. So, but it's good to reconnect with them because it's just I've definitely lost some because we get into this rhythm, like where we go on YouTube for all of our information, and we have to break from those habits, or we go to Facebook for all our information or Twitter for all our information. But we got to break from those habits because what's happening is we're getting deplatformed off those places. I've lost one Twitter account, and my second Twitter account, like they're bombing me with like advertisements. Like, so everybody that is my follower on Twitter is getting hit up with these ridiculous ads coming from me. Like I'm tweeting them these ads, and so people just
so they are commandeering your account to post ads. Not just ads are on your page. Like they seem like they're coming from David.
Yeah.
Wow.
So people think I'm spamming them with this, like, hey, find out your followers on Twitter or something like that, and it's always the same one. And I've changed my password a couple times, but what happens?
Those sort of things are like bugs or viruses. I think like when you click on a link, they grab hold of your account and start spreading that link.
Yeah, exactly.
So you may have clicked on a dodgy link at one point and got.
But then I've since like changed my password and the whole bit, and I don't know how it works, but the bottom line is, people will, if I'm getting that, I'm cutting that guy off. You know what I mean? And so they've cut off my followers on Twitter, and it's just part of the game, But I'm saying is that we get into a rhythm of where we find people, and then if those people are no longer there, we just get out of there. We just, and that
the rug's pulled from under you, isn't it? Same with YouTube, and now they are this new Meta, Zuckerberg, and they pulled all of these very popular social platforms together, and we're going to go into a meta universe now, and it's all going to be, it's like a one world government for one world social media. Obviously a lot of us are breaking away from that. We've got other avenues of social media that are being tried or are being trialed now, but it seems very kind of NSA led,
if I didn't think that the NSA was on our side right now, which I do believe they are,
as a whole, or
no, the I believe that we're still being monitored in a lot of ways that we don't want to be, but I do believe that that the good guys have taken it over, and that goes back to Admiral Rogers when he told Trump that he was being spied upon, and but also definitely when you look at the CIA and the FBI and the DOJ, their corruption is just surfacing like never before.
Yeah.
And so when we're seeing that surfacing like never before, but we're not really hearing much out of the NSA, that tells me, well, maybe they're a part of this operation, if there is an operation, which I think there is, because the absurdities we're seeing every day, I think, are just waking more and more and more people up to a reality that the mainstream media that they're used to getting their information from cannot be trusted. The politicians that are writing the laws cannot be trusted. Our schools can't be trusted. Our
Yep.
hospitals can't be trusted. Our universities can't be trusted. And because every single one of these establishments is now starting to crumble on under the weight of their own hypocrisy and quite honestly, evil. It's like we can't pretend like what happened this weekend in Wisconsin. Like, we can't pretend that evil doesn't exist. Have you followed that, by the way, the car that went through the parade?
No, please.
Killed
About it.
8 people, injured 40, many still in the hospital. Just basically ran through a parade in Wisconsin.
Wow.
And this guy, my team was busy kind of breaking this, and we basically showed that the guy is who the guy was, and and that he was let out of prison the day of the verdict of Kyle Rittenhouse.
Oh, right.
And he had 2 felonies, I think 4 misdemeanors. He was let out on $1,000 bail. And so, because people see events like this happen and they think, oh man, this world is a crazy world, right? What's wrong with these idiots? It's like, no, this guy's paid to be let out of prison. He's told, we're going to do this for you. You got to go do this. Or he's MK Ultra and he's triggered by something, and he drives through and then, causes this kind of chaos and distrust and of our fellow man at a time when we need it more than ever.
I mean,
So,
do we know about his his psych evaluation? I mean, was this guy just I mean, all about the bail conditions? I mean, does that all seem legit? Is this guy just a nut that's come out and has caused some maximum damage?
well,
How do we know this is being? I mean, we can speculate for
well,
sure.
it's still coming out. But, like, for
Right.
example, the guy is on my Facebook page, Paul Michaels. I think I have it. Let me pull it up real quick. This stuff's still coming out, right? But basically, this guy also, he goes by the name, his name is Daryl Brooks. He
Mhm.
also goes by Math Boy Fly. He's a musician. He's actually done music video, and the car that he used to run people down is in the music video.
Well, that's a bit
And
coincidental, a bit
and
weird.
yeah, and this music video has now been taken off YouTube.
Well, yeah.
And all the footage of the actual running through the crowd has been taken off Twitter. And so so fortunately I got this out yesterday. But so this stuff is still coming out, but I'll
So it's
tell
an
you,
evolving story, is what you're
it's an
saying at the
evolving
moment,
story.
and you're keeping your eyes closely on it.
Yeah, his
Um,
his first count was misdemeanor, second count felony, bail jumping felony. So he's a bail jumper, and he was
and
let
was
out on
released.
bail.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that is weird.
second-degree felony, recklessly endangering safety. Okay, because he ran somebody down with a car. Is the word I got on that.
Jeez.
Domestic abuse, disorderly conduct, domestic abuse, battery, domestic abuse, and the Soros-led, government mafia are letting these criminals out. Like if you look at what happened with Rittenhouse, the guys that he murdered and or shot were all criminals, like really bad criminals, like pedophile criminals. And so this is being allowed. These people are being released. People are being, in the 2020 riots, they were being released overnight. They were like, okay, we're going to let you go. We're going to let you go. And they're burning shit down. Meanwhile, the people that were January 6th, they're still locked up. I mean, it's unbelievable. And they just, because they walked through a door.
The real criminals, right?
Yeah, the real criminals. And I just saw a video or a movie last week. One of the Snedheads called me up. Nate Estes called me up and he said, "Hey man, they're doing this at my church." And it was the documentary called Capital Punishment. And it was unbelievable. There were people that were like, grandmothers that the FBI literally broke down their door. Simone Gold, who's one of the frontline doctors, the head of the frontline doctors, her door was broken down under, with guns, out with lasers. Okay. This man's daughter had a laser on her head from the FBI, and they're going, so this is unbelievable that what we're seeing is that they're letting these criminals out. And I've been talking about this for a long time. The whole idea is to create chaos, whether it be, in Europe, bringing up the immigrants, the migrants from the Middle East, of the problems we create so that we have a reason. The Islamic invasion of Europe has happened, but instead of the borders of Europe, standing with guns or, fences saying, no, you can't come in. You guys had blankets for them and water bottles and, it's come on in. We're going to give you housing. We're going to give you a thing, because that's the way it was designed to disrupt Europe. Meanwhile, Poland, no, not one, zero. Not one migrant has entered the borders of Poland. Right. So, but that's what's happening here in the United States, down at the southern border. Let's let them all in now. And also, let's let all the prisoners out. And this has happened in history. This has happened in history because then they have the chaos. They have the people that are willing to do the deeds because they've already done it. It's crazy.
Interesting stuff. Developing stories, certainly something for people to go in, tune in to, Indoctrination podcast, David Snedeker, go and see what's going on there. I will certainly look into it. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Certainly some interesting points put there, but we'll move on. And we have a gate crasher. Someone's trying to call in. I'd heard in our previous interviews that you appreciate, and in fact, we were just talking about her before, that you appreciate the work of Intel Lady, and also, was it her most recent upload was Lieman Sharks.
Lieman Sharks, the driving school, the driving instructor.
Absolutely brilliant. You've seen it, yeah? You've seen it. Yeah.
Yes.
It was brilliant. I mean, if anyone knows the roots of where Simon Parks comes from, the first time that he was on the mainstream media was when they were chronicling or, interviewing him for a show called Confessions of an Alien Abductee. That was for like Channel 4 in the UK.
Right.
And they did a few different people. One of them was Simon Parks, who then ended up going on the morning show. a popular show, and his whole thing was that he was his parents. He had two sets of parents. One was an alien set.
Yep.
His dad was a mantid. His mum was a feline cat-like being. So much stuff there. But he's also a driving instructor who was also a local councillor, Labour councillor in his town of Whitby. So the whole story is mad. And actually, recently I've done a video where I kind of make a bit of a satire joke about this. Have you seen that?
Did you, dude? You're cut away to the ankle bracelet. They're monitoring me. Oh my God.
He says, "Oh, they're monitoring me. I'm sure." And it cuts away to an
I lost it.
And you go watch it. Yeah,
that was unbelievable.
I mean, but it just outlines the absurdity of it all, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And really, I mean, there's a link in it's my latest video. There's a link in there where you can see the original. You can see that I've not touched the audio. Actually, this is what he's saying. We've just put some humorous clips over the top to just show how absurd the stuff that he was saying before. And at the end, he talks about how he talked to Q.
Well, what I was just about to say to you about all those things you just said about him, to me, are the least absurd of things he said.
Okay.
Because those things don't affect anybody negatively. The fact that his mother's an alien, the fact that he has sex with an alien 4 times a year.
I mean,
he thinks it's about 4 times a year.
Facts, of course.
Yeah, dude, if I had sex with an alien, okay, I'd be able to tell you the date, the time, the situation. He got me drunk. Okay, he got me drunk, and
he spiked my drink.
But he's like, I think about 4 times a year, right? It's like
4 times a year, yeah.
So those don't hurt anybody. But when you're saying I've got Q intel, I know what's going to happen next. I know what's going to happen with the quantum financial system. I know what's coming next. Those are the things that really harm people.
Yeah.
That's why those are the least absurd.
But this is the problem. He's come from that background. He was in the UFO community talking about his story there. And then suddenly he is a authority on talking about the 17-letter movement. Right. In fact, global currency reset. He has a worldwide network. It's insane how many people believe what he's saying. And they think that this driving instructor from Whitby is like some big guy in Trump circle. I mean, it's insane. But people, there's lots of people that say, oh, there's some people that are very far one way that will say, how idiotic do you have to be to believe this? And, someone said that to me the other day, and I said, I will not insult these people because, some of these people are very intelligent. It's emotions. Do not underestimate the power of emotions, power of fear, the power of hope, the power, of many. This is a thing that's gripping people because they let that blind them, that cloud their judgment. And they said, really, though? Yes, really, though. There's so many people much more intelligent than myself who would believe this stuff. It's just that I have a certain outlook, a certain perspective, and I've not, I might be able to balance my emotions in a different way.
Yeah.
I think emotion is a massive driver behind this. But where I was getting with this, David.
Yes.
Go on, mate. Have you got a point about?
No. I was going to say, you got somebody waiting here.
Yeah, someone just called in because they are quite upset that we mentioned Lieman Sharks.
Not
dude, you just walked me into a trap here.
Oh, I didn't realize, Lieman, that you were listening.
Well, I was. And you know what? I could do without it, frankly, because I'm outside my property at this very moment looking for Sidney Powell. I took her out for a tinkle and she's gone missing. And now I don't know where she is. So I'm very upset. I shouldn't have to be here talking to you. But I'm not happy.
I do apologize. Is Sidney Powell one of your cats? Is that right?
No, Sidney Powell is my puppy dog.
Oh.
And unfortunately, she's a little spirited and she tends to wander off.
Oh,
And I took my eye off the ball for 1 second, and off she's gone. So it's inconvenient that I'm having to talk to you at all, frankly.
Did you say, did she go number 1 or number 2? Because I don't know if you said Sydney Bowell or Sydney Powell.
It's definitely Sydney Powell. And to be perfectly honest, I don't want to insult her by giving such personal details about her.
Is that her there? Is that her there?
No, this is General Flynn. This is General Flynn.
Okay,
I took General Flynn outside because she does respond well to him. You know, when he gives a rousing meow, she gives a rousing woof in response. So I was hoping if I could bring him outside that he would woof her back in, meow her back in, and she would woof herself back. But I don't know where she's gone now. Anyway, I've come on because I'm not happy.
Okay.
There's a lot of talk at the moment about my past, which is irrelevant actually, and I'm not happy about it. And I think it's mainly this sneaker here, the M sneaker. Don't like him, not keen at all. I've warned him before actually, but he didn't heed the warning, and the lawyers' letters are coming. Just thought you should know.
I'm sure they are, Lieman. And
are you going to send the boys around?
Yeah.
I don't need to. Well, the boys are the lawyers, and I talk legally. I don't muck about. There's no point in sending the boys around to do that sort of. Not interested in that. Just a simple lawsuit is good enough for me, and I'm not happy. So they will be coming. Found your address on the quantum computer, so I know where you live. I do know where you both live, actually.
It's funny that you said sneaker, and I thought you were talking about me, Lieman, because a lot of people get my name. As a matter of fact, I got rid of my Android phone because after owning it for 2 years, it still thought my name was Sneaker. But so you got the M Sneaker and you got the David Sneaker. So I think we're both.
You sound like MI5 operatives to me, or you'll be CIA though, wouldn't you? Yeah, I know a lot about the CIA. My grandfather started at MI6 and then ended up at the CIA. I don't quite know why. Haven't worked that out yet. But so yes, we certainly have the links there to the CIA, and it does sound to me like you might be.
Well, I was just going to say they must be very proud of you, Lieman, for the work you're doing.
They are. They are. Yeah. And you know, I've been doing some good work. I'm glad you brought that up, actually, because I've been just go down, darling, go down. Go look for Sydney. Go look for Sydney. Now, I have been doing some very important work today. I've been handing out flyers to the general public, alerting them to the med beds that are going to be rolled out. Would you like to see one of my flyers? I'm very proud
to see this.
Work.
Sure, please. Yes, please.
They are absolutely beautiful. Look at this.
Oh, use your head, book a med bed, not a death bed.
Yes. Yeah, that's a nurse. That's
connectingconartists.com.
Yes,
I think I've seen that nurse. It's in a hospital here called Foreplay in LA.
Oh, she's very good. I've sent her numerous ties. She hasn't returned any of them, which I thought was a bit unfortunate, really, because she does look like she's, she does look like she's of menstruating age. So I was hoping that she would respond favorably to the ties, but she hasn't. She's a bit of a tease, to be honest.
Well, have you offered her, kind of a psychiatric evaluation help? Because that seems to work for you.
I've offered her a soul reading. Okay. And she said she would get back to me. So I think she will. I mean, she's just very busy nursing. She's a very caring girl. Yeah. But I was a little bit ticked off today because I've just discovered that I actually have. I didn't write this, but there is in fact a spelling mistake here. If you can see that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we missed out an N.
Connecting Conartis. What is that?
Oh, that's my group, Connecting
Conartis.
Yes.
Conartis.
But unfortunately, we missed out. We missed an N there. You see.
Yes, I see.
Now that was nothing to do with me. That was the printers. Right. And I'm really, really cross because I gave out at least 10 of these, and people don't think I'm serious. And
Well, yeah.
I can't imagine anyone not taking me seriously. But now,
Yeah. Well, we're missing 2 letters. We're missing an N and we're missing an M, it seems. M seeker.
yeah, well, I don't know what to see. Do you know what?
Try to keep
what
up.
this is?
What?
It's because he knows I'm on to him.
Yes, yes.
And he knows that he's going to get sued.
So I have some questions for you.
Go on.
If I may.
I'm still looking for Sydney, so I might be distracted. Go on.
Okay. So the whole Q operation, could you tell us about your involvement in that?
I speak to Q. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know. Yeah. So like, is it does Q text you, or how does
I mean, there's texting. There's
okay.
texting and the occasional phone call. I mean, sometimes the Q tends to send carrier pigeon. That's usually the way that we work. But unfortunately, the last carrier pigeon that was sent was eaten by General Flynn. So it didn't work, unfortunately. It's a shame. So we have gone back to text messaging for now. And, you know, it works well. It does work well. It does work well.
Have you asked Q, which is, you know, if you follow Q, for those in the audience who don't, is a U.S. military operation that is worldwide, but, you know, originated here in the U.S. 7 military, 3 civilian. Have you asked them why they're reaching out to a somebody that comes from a CIA and MI6, MI5 background with family, and that is a driving instructor? I mean, what is your certain set of skills that called Q to come to you?
Right, because I've got the goods. I mean, let's be frank. Let's be real here. I've got the goods. Not only do I know how MI5 and MI6 and CIA work, so I can dish the dirt, you know. But also, I'm a great getaway driver. So if we're feeling the heat, if the heat comes, you know, then I've got all the moves. That's why they've picked me. And also, Q loves cats.
Oh, right. So Q's a cat enthusiast as well.
Absolute cat lover.
And you mentioned you're a great getaway driver. We saw some of that.
Saw you outrun a helicopter.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
This is my life. Do you understand?
You didn't manage to get an index on that helicopter, did you?
Couldn't get the index.
No, he's right.
It's quite impressive with a 4-cylinder engine as well.
I mean, it was difficult. It was difficult. We've been out today, actually, with the crew. I've been filming today, making a documentary. I don't know if you're aware, making a documentary, and the crew were with me when I was handing out these flyers, and we've had a great day. But there was an incident with an MI5 truck, and we caught it on camera. You won't believe it. You're going to have to tune in at the weekend to see part 2.
Oh, brilliant!
It really was touch and go there for a while.
So do the indexes actually say MI5? Is that how you're able to determine what's what?
It's the font. It's all in the font.
Okay.
So that's how you know.
How you work it out.
Listen, I mean, I could talk to you two reprobates, you know, for the rest of the evening, but I'm just going to let the lawyers do the talking. Okay?
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I need to go and find Sydney Powell because she's still not here. She must have had at least 5 tinkles by now, and it's not acceptable, not good enough. Not happy about it. General Flynn's done a bunk. Don't even know where she's gone. General Flynn is female, by the female cat. Don't know where she's gone, so we're in a pickle. So I have to go. I've got to go.
It's been wonderful to have you on, Lieman Sharks,
Lieman Sharks,
Right.
the Intel Lady channel.
Lawyers' letters coming.
Beautiful.
Yes, I'm sure we've got lawyers' letters coming. I know you love to threaten legal action.
Okay,
But, go and find your dog.
Right.
And thank you for joining us and explaining your displeasure.
I will. Thank you. Goodbye.
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 Okay, so guys, that was Intel Lady or Lieman Sharks.
Oh.
Go and see her recent video. Lieman Sharks' recent video documentary on driving, the Confessions of a Driving Instructor. You can find that on the Intel Lady channel, which is in the description. That was Lieman Sharks, one of many characters that Intel Lady plays. And David was mentioning her before she came on. It was a random phone call of displeasure from Lieman, of course.
Yes.
But yeah, go and follow her.
That was great. Oh my God. That was great. Thank you for that. And thank you, Intel Lady. That was awesome.
Oh, she's brilliant. She's comedy genius. It's one of those,
really?
You were saying like it's more like a Saturday Night Live kind of sketch.
Yeah.
She's great at what she does. We need to see more of it. And now she's on the Jen of Intel Lady is now on the Griftbusters crew. So when we do our Griftbusters episodes, see her on the panel and see her as herself, which is kind of a novelty in itself.
Yeah. And a beautiful lady, beautiful and intelligent and smart lady. Fantastic. All great. And it's just great to, I've submitted scripts to Saturday Night Live in shows. I had one show use my stuff before. And it was the Man Show many years ago, but I used to submit the scripts and they were like, they had to be 5 minutes and under. Right. So that was kind of like you had to like get a whole story in 5 minutes. And so it's kind of cool to see how she's doing these characters and getting the whole story in, and it's so well done.
What about improv skills? I mean, I don't know how she was on there, but how brilliant was that? No script. It's just
this is
talking about
a great format.
Not a real person. Lieman is real. Santa Claus.
Throwing her into a conversation like this, I think is brilliant too.
She does well. So please, guys, go and follow her. Like I say, descriptions in the link. I know that David has mentioned her before on his shows. Yes. Of course, she does Griftbusters with me. Done quite a lot of collaborations with me, and Intel Lady.
And not enough people know about her.
Exactly. And this is why people like us need to spread the word, because what she's doing effectively is what I'm doing, but in her own capacity. So what she can do is she can really apply, I try and apply humor to my videos. You'll see some humorous videos. You'll see a lot of videos where you will find a humor throughout, because it is very, it is a negative thing to be constantly on people's tails, to be constantly telling you who is fooling you, because often the people that I'm speaking to are people that are being, or the people that I want to reach are the people that are being fooled by certain personalities. So I often get the whole, you're a negative person because and who you going to talk badly about next.
Yeah.
And what are you doing for the movement is another thing that people say. How are you doing any good? Because these people, doesn't matter how bad they were in their past, doesn't matter about all this stuff, doesn't matter if they were lying 100 times and you're showing that. They are waking people up. No, hang on a minute. People will be waking up anyway. There are people out there who are good souls that are waking up people. So if I'm putting out the people that are riding on the back of this and making money from what's happening, from this inevitable wave of people waking up to maybe not the whole truth, but the fact that we've been living in a lie, that we've been fed lies from the day we were born. If I am at least opening people up to that, and then I'm telling people, hang on a minute, it's a minefield out there. The powers that be know that there is an awakening happening. So what are they going to do? If you can imagine, if what you're being told is there's been a controlled dissemination of information from even, they were born well before that. There were generations before us, right? If we're being fed this all day long and that's what you've woken up to, how naive is it to think that, hang on a minute, this Charlie or Simon, is telling us this. they're doing good because they're waking people up. And what are you doing? You're trying to suppress that. No, I'm not. There's a lot of people out there that would call out these people that say I wouldn't dare class myself as a truther. I am a truther. I'm here to spread truth. So if I have to be the guy, I mean, you know, I didn't have a platform really before I started calling out Greg Hallett, the fake king of England, all that stuff. We'll get into that, but that's where I suddenly started gaining a following, because there was this guy who was saying he was king, and so many people followed him, and I was shouting, "No, he's not. He's not. Look at this information I've got." People were saying, "No."
You were shouting, "The emperor has no clothes."
He
is what you were shouting,
right? Yeah,
right? I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
And so I'll go on to then talk about popular people in this truth movement. Should they be there? Yeah. Should they be popular? And there's a lot of people. I mean, like a lot of people. This is why, you know, I love you. I love you, David. There's a lot of people that are just so scared to have a backlash that I get for obviously calling these people out. And there's people like yourself who already had a platform, who are already talking truth, that are sticking by their principles, you know, their morals, what's good for what they're trying to do. That's what these other people need to think about. These David Ninos, these other people, they need to think, hang on a minute, I could ride this wave of popularity, but these people are going to fall. The truth will always win in the end.
Yeah,
and that's how I've carried on, because all the people are saying, "Well, you're gonna be silly when Gregory Hallett walks into Buckingham Palace." Not going to happen. Didn't happen. There you go, proven right. Yeah. You're going to be silly when the QFS comes in. Not going to happen. Didn't happen. April 6th didn't happen. So
yeah.
And now who looks the fool? Now who's the shill? Right? Yeah. Not me.
Yeah.
I'm just a normal guy talking the truth.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that now. So with the recent video, one of the recent videos, Charlie Ward leaves his comments open. We can see what people really think now.
Yeah, yeah. I saw that. Your show on that, because I wouldn't know if Charlie turned his comments off or on or whatever. You know,
they're always off.
Let them on. They're always
if
off.
He leaves them on.
You turn them back on. Yeah. I wouldn't know that, because literally the last time I saw Charlie Ward speak outside of your videos was when he confessed to having known that Gregory Hallett wasn't the real king. That was the last time. That's all I needed.
It was enough for a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then I didn't need, another 29 reasons. But you know what? Enough about him, right? Because, quite honestly, you run the risk of running with turkeys, right, rather than flying with eagles, right? And so the more we talk about the turkeys, the more we're kind of down in there. And I know it's about time to talk about turkeys here in the United States anyway, because Thanksgiving's coming up. But we don't want to be running with these turkeys, right?
Yeah. Sure.
And so that's why I distance myself from them. As soon as boom, I'm gone. Like I don't need any more information from them or any more, because they've shown me who they are. And so when people criticize you for, what are you doing for the truth community? You're dragging down the truth community or whatever those, it's like, you're not seeing the big picture here, people.
Exactly.
Okay. You need to understand that just saying that you're a truther isn't enough.
No,
you got to show up with the goods. You got to show up with the receipts. You can't just be saying, I got intel, and you can't say who gave it to you. And it's never any good. Okay. And so you have so what are you doing for the truth community? Well, excuse me. Part of my show is called The Indoctrination, obviously. And so I've got a criticism about the way I approach things, because I'm dealing in so much negativity, right? We're dealing in really nasty topics, right? Of really hard to digest things, because we're exposing the indoctrination, and we're exposing how the cabal has controlled this planet through through the dissemination of information. And so for me, I have to mix that with some comedy. You know, we have a lot of laughs on the show, and with, like positivity. Like most of my monologues at the beginning of the show, I'm trying to like, hey, this is happening and this is happening and this is happening, but hey, I think we got this. Like, look how many people are waking up. Look at, so I always try to talk about the positive, because I used to play basketball, and I've played for coaches that were like just negative Nellies, like all the time, like focusing on the negative, on the negative, on the negative. But then I've had coaches that would, hey, focus on the negative to make you realize that you have a problem. You're letting this guy get rebounds over you, right?
We need people from both sides.
But then they come back and they say, but look at you, dude, you're strong. You got this guy. He's afraid of you. Look at his eyes. He doesn't want to play again. And so they bring it around. So they empower you, or bring the power out of you. I call it repower. And they repower you to go back out on the court and kick some ass, right? And so you need that positivity, right? And so you came into the world through kind of a negative lens, because you're looking at these guys and you're calling them out for their stuff.
Not intentionally, by the way.
No, it kind of happened organically, didn't it?
I believed the whole world was a lie. It just so happened that I called out this fake king, and everyone went, "I want more. I want you to look into everyone." And I just got pigeonholed into this. I want to talk about some. I'm trying this. You'll see videos where I'm trying to talk about conspiracies, things that I think that hold weight. It doesn't even get so many views because people want to see me calling out people. It's not what I want to do. But yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Well, you can also, but look at what you're doing with Intel Lady, right? You're bringing Intel Lady in, which is kind of doing the same thing, but it's a laugh, it's a positivity, right? It's like, look at the absurdity of it all, right? And so
put some icing on it, honestly.
So so you're kind of
it's such a swamp. You need to,
exactly, because you need a little taste, you need a little, for the taste buds, right? And so you got a little something like that. So you're doing that, I think, very organically, and I think that's a really good thing. And if there's any criticism about what you're doing, is that just be careful not to allow these people to suck you in to this false world.
Make me a part of it. Make me a part of this machine that represses the truth.
And you know what? I know you wanted to talk about Vegas. And this could be
before we do, but because let's move on to that. I wanted to say something about that. You last watched Charlie before you watched by 30 Reasons, things like that. You don't want to give too much time, but at the same time, you do want to highlight where inconsistencies, lies are being pointed out, but you want to focus on the positive. So a saying that sprung to mind is, a wise man once said, bees don't waste time explaining to flies that honey is better than shit, and that is something that sprang to mind when you were talking about that, like, because I may be a different kind of bee, right? But you're a bee that's buzzing, trying to buzz positivity, but you can only balance so much positivity with truth, right? So I admire what you do, because we may have different views about some things. I mean, we've had some lengthy discussions. They've been great about things that we have slightly different views about.
Sure.
It's obviously going to be there. People criticizing me also for having people on my show. Hang on a minute. He believes this. You don't believe this. Why are you having someone that believes this on your show? Come on now. Let's all have a discussion, right?
Right.
Just because I don't believe everything that David says or Jordan says or this person says or this other person says, doesn't mean that I don't see the value in that connection.
In that conversation.
In that connection. In this conversation right here, putting this out, people need to stop hanging up on, hang on a minute, you don't stand 100% for that person. No, this person is speaking what they believe. They are not, as far as I can see, they're not controlled. They're worth having in this discussion. They're worth me putting my face out with their face. They're worth being affiliated with because of this reason: A, B, C, D, E. If you want to talk about F and go on about F all day long, there's something wrong with you and your truthometer, because A, B, C, D, and E certainly have a place in this conversation. F can be a part of this conversation. In fact, when we did the second part of our last interview, so we did an interview that was like 2 hours long, we split it into two.
Yeah.
The second part of it, we talked about perhaps F, right? And we talked about I don't want to go too much into it on this show, but we talked about sustainability as a YouTuber, trying to do good by your followers, trying to give good information, balancing that with giving good offers. I currently don't do any of that. We had a good conversation. I'm confident that what you're doing, there's a line where it comes to, are you grifting? Are you offering good information? Are you offering a product that is good for your viewers? Are you offering good information alongside that? Where do you draw that line? And so many people are quick to say, hang on a minute, he's selling A, B, C, D, whatever. That automatically writes him off as a grifter. Hang on a minute, where's your thought process there? This guy is working tirelessly to bring the truth, and this guy is not hamming it up, and that's what I look into. Is where do I associate with people? Because if you're going to get your voice out there, you've also got to associate with people that are known as well. So where do you pick those people? Where do you choose who are the people that you align with in an important way that so there's so many factors to that alignment. And I've got to say, David, I'm more than happy to have done now 3 shows with you in a short space of time, because I need to get it out there that you don't pull punches. You have a very wide spectrum of views. I can't say, hang on a minute, that you're talking absolute bull there. I can say I disagree with you on some things, and that's what's brilliant. And you need to pick these people, and the people that are saying all these shills need to be called out. I'm not talking about yourself, but other people that have been on my show, they need to think about the value that he brings to what we're doing about spreading discernment. Or he or she thinks.
Yeah, well,
you need to think about the wider picture, because if they are really doing a great thing, but in their past they did this, or hang on a minute, what's the bigger picture here? Are they really that bad? What are they doing to do what you really want to see happen here? And how much impact do they have, and how much is it worth me having them on my show?
Well, I think, absolutely. And it's also where you're understanding that a couple things here to unpack. And one is that you, you're focusing, you're talking about, Simon, you're talking about Charlie, you're talking about all these different people that are just flat out lying, just flat out lying. In a truth community, there's no getting around it. Okay. And the people that are following them, and this is where we have to get, before I get into that, there's two parts to unpack. One is that you're focusing on them, but then you're having conversations with me, you're having conversations with Jordan, you're having conversations with people that you're saying, you know what, maybe give this guy a listen. I don't necessarily believe with everything that he's talking about or doing, but you know what? I think there's some integrity there, and in this world we need to find that, right? And so it's not about disagreeing or agreeing; it's about connecting with integrity, and so that, which takes me to the other part of this, is that I get in very deeply into how the whatever you want to call the people that are in charge, the people at the top of the pyramid, okay, You can call them the Council of Rome, the Council of 300. You can count them the Bilderbergs, all these different groups. But they're the elite. All right, whether it financially, politically, okay, and they're the ones with power. Okay, and that can't be, that can't be argued. And if it is argued, it's very quickly being able to be, corrected or solved by saying, well, who's in power? And look at the shit show of this planet, right? So the people in power would then be held responsible. So what do you say we hold the people responsible? But the reason that they've been able to do what they've done and get away with the generations of genocide, the generations of infanticide, the generations of population control measures and communism, socialism, the whole bit. The reason they've been able to do this, and this is why I say we have an internal revolution that we need to deal with, is because they've appealed to that part of human nature that is looking for answers and is attracted to those who say they have those answers.
Yeah.
And so all of the people that you're seeing blow up on social media that aren't getting kicked off YouTube, that aren't getting kicked off these platforms, but getting hundreds of thousands of followers like overnight, like you on YouTube, your growth is organic, right?
Oh, for sure.
My growth is organic, and then I'm getting my legs cut out, and then it drops, and it goes, and then it drops, and it's like, it's ridiculous. So, but those are natural occurrences of your kind of growth. Getting 200,000 followers on what do you call it? Telegram.
Yeah.
Like overnight, that's not normal. And so when you see a situation like that, that's a red flag.
Right? Yeah, lots of influencers doing that. Phil Godlewski. There's lots of influencers that suddenly seem to be jumping numbers like that.
And when you listen to them, which I only have to do once, literally, most of the people out there I've listened to minutes, not hours. And I can pick them out because I've been doing this for a long time. I've been like trying to figure out who's full of shit and who's not for 15 years, because 15 years ago I started figuring out that I didn't know anything, and because I had been taught so many lies. So then I started having to figure it out, but I had to find those resources and I had to find those sources. And one of the things I had to avoid was shiny. Was, oh, look at this over here. Look at this over here. Whoa. The things that I wanted to hear, I had to say, wait a minute. Now I want to hear that, but what's the source I'm hearing it from? Cui bono, who benefits from telling me something that may not be accurate? And so it really has to go, we have to go back to a fundamental level. And what you're exposing is the characteristics of the grifters that are the flame for the moths.
Yeah.
And that's all these moths are just flocking to it like flies to shit.
It's like a playbook as well. So many people are repeating it.
Yes. Oh, it's a dude, I could do that playbook tomorrow and have hundreds of thousands.
It's what I've always said. If I made my channel into a, insider intel, 17 know-it-all, whatever.
Yep.
I could have blown up. I don't need that. In fact, like you say, my following is organic because I've stuck by what I'm about. And, so and some people even questioning that.
And
are you still about that? It's like, yes, I am. Look at the bigger picture.
Yeah. And I've said this to a few of my friends that watched our interview. our previous interview. And I've said, you know, when this is all said and done, I think we're going to go back and we're going to mine some of the great moments in truth movement and the revolution. And I think that our conversation is going to be one of those nuggets. I really do. Because it was so organic. It was so natural. It was about a lot of the aspects of this, of this. It wasn't like we were going after anybody. We were having a conversation, and in the span of that conversation, we were finding the points that were so important to discuss, and we were just naturally discussing them. It wasn't like we're going after anybody. We didn't get on and say, "Hey, who we're going to go after?" It's not. There's no.
That was never a plan. Obviously,
no.
You know, I hear speak about people. You go into it. It's natural in conversation, but it's not what we set out to do. You're right.
Yeah. So, I think it's really powerful, and so it's just that when we're if we really get to the heart of the problem here, is that the same way in which CNN grabbed people and Fox grabbed people and MSNBC grabbed people, okay, and like Microsoft, people don't realize it. MSNBC is Microsoft NBC, right? That's Bill Gates. We just did our show, I think Thursday.
Yeah.
We showed the article where Bill Gates spent $319 million last year on media. So if you're wondering why Bill Gates is on every channel talking about things that, you know, we gotta understand, or, you know, and just this weird, creepy freaking guy, man, is all over the internet and all over television, and nobody realizes he spent over $300 million to all these different organizations that they're putting him on, just like he spent billions in the pharmaceutical industry. And so pulling that kind of information out is so integral. But just as all those networks and all those channels were able to grab our attention with the flashy, you know, with the neurolinguistic programming that every single one of them learned, right? With the soft voice of NPR and here, and if you listen to my voice, you're going to know that you trust me immediately, and you're going to listen to the things I tell you, and I'm going to tell you things that are true, but then I'm going to slip something in there that's not, that serves my masters, my overlords. You know, these are all like neurolinguistic programming techniques. I know this stuff because I've studied it. And the same things that are being used to attract our attention in the mainstream media are being used in the /truther/ independent media that is collecting that audience from those stations, right? And collecting that audience through the same techniques, but couched in a very different picture, a very different basket, if you will, right? And so that's how this is rolling. Is that we're not understanding that NBC, CBS, and all those, they're not the problem. We are.
Yeah.
Because we bought that cable package. we follow their advertisers. We financed our own demise. And so until we realize that we're the problem, we're going to allow ourselves to be distracted by some of these shills out there.
For sure. You know, all very good points, and absolutely, we lead ourselves into this problem, and sometimes you need people to. So again, coming back to my situation, you need people to point out where, you know, sometimes you need the negative, and I'll try and put as much positivity as I can into that. But you need people to point out where, you know, you can't just have all these, you know, rainbows and flowers over it all the time. Even all of these influencers that know, hang on a minute, this doesn't sound right. You don't see them stop in the interview and go, hang on a minute. Can you explain that? Because I don't think that's right. You know, people just don't dare.
Or don't, I call it the bobbleheads.
Yeah.
You're talking and I'm just like, the bobbleheads. It's like watching, I used to, you know, back in the day, all the NFL teams had these bobblehead players, right? And I don't know if they still have that, but I remember just these bobbleheads, right? And you put them on your dash sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And they just, when you drove, you know, they just, and that's what it is, man.
Yeah.
And even something like, you know, Charlie calling you, you know, a pedo. And
that was awful.
And
well, I had to go through
what's
that.
her name? What's her name?
Mel K, sitting there. You know, I had a conversation with her.
Yes, of course.
And
of course.
I had a conversation with her afterwards, and you know, I'm going to say this because we talked about doing an interview. She talked about how she doesn't want to be put in the bad light, this, that, and the other. So I'm not going to talk about too much about that conversation. But we'd said we'd do an interview before that happened. Then she went on his show, and he said, "Oh, now we find out he's a pedo, right?"
Of course.
And she's like, "Oh, well, that makes sense. Hang on a minute. Where's your effing discernment? Not that you've had any before." I'm sorry, Milky. I've said to you, I've not badmouthed you at all. Anytime we come to Griftbusters, you know, I might have said at one point, yeah, it just goes along with anything that Charlie says. When he was threatening to come to my doorstep, you were like, "Oh, maybe you should." When you were talking to David Nino Rodriguez about Jordan Safer, you were laughing about the fact and encouraging him to beat him up when they met each other at a convention or whatever it was.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that interview.
So look, you know, I've not said any of that. I might have said to Jordan, "Well, that's bad," you know, her doing that. I might have said in my Griftbusters shows at one point, you know, she shouldn't be going along with that. What a puppet, you know, going along with Charlie saying he's going to come to my doorstep,
right.
Things like that. All fair enough, right?
Yeah.
So she wanted an interview to set things straight after talking to Kirsten W, because obviously Kirsten has a bee in a bonnet about Mel, right? And Mel had said to me, "Well, you've talked about me in these shows, you've done shows on me." No, I haven't, Mel. I have not talked about you. Right? Okay. No. Other people on my show might have talked about you. And I don't think it was that bad. But, you know, what was said, okay, you know, I've not agreed with it or anything like this, right? Let's have a conversation. After that, Charlie says that, and she's like, "Yeah, okay." Bobbling her head along. Now, that is something you do not say about someone. Charlie made these ridiculous accusations, for which you can see the story of that on my channel. If you go back and have a look, I chronicle where he'd said those things. I chronicle where he'd got it from, which was a guy who was mentally unstable, who's now in jail for fraud.
Now was arrested on fraud. Yeah.
And went to jail.
Yeah.
He's in jail still currently. And that was in the video, the footage of his arrest. That's where Charlie got his information from. He doesn't question it. Mel doesn't question Charlie. So that's all I'll say about that. And, you know, I asked Mel, I said, how dare you nod along to that?
Yeah.
She said, maybe I use him.
Well, maybe you use him, but you lose me. And look at how many people with integrity are you losing? Because that I mean, I've never, honestly, I've never watched her. Why? Because of where she came from.
You know, I've watched her, you know, and a lot of people talk about where she came from, and I didn't want to put too much stock into that. People have had a hard time in their past. I've had a hard time in my past. People want to talk about alcoholism, things like that. You know, I know a lot about this sort of stuff, and that's not the sort of thing I want to talk about. But what I do want to talk about is, you know, we were talking, we had that conversation, and she said to me, "Well, you know, maybe we have more in common than you think. Maybe we should talk." Yeah, okay, let's talk tomorrow. She didn't talk. She went on his show again next Monday.
Yeah.
Same old crap. So, you know, where do I draw the line? Where do I give, you know, you want to talk to me? You want to set things straight? Let's do it. You want to sit there while someone says Oh, well, I found out he was a pedo. Oh, well, that makes sense.
Thank you.
Not, oh, how did you find that out? Where's the evidence of this? Not any of that. You know, you're meant to be a truth seeker.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. Maybe I use him. Yeah, you do. So why don't you? You know, so many people admire what she does and goes, you know, she does great with the research, but you know, unfortunately, she mingles with, you know, and she does these shows with Dr. Fraud. Well, okay,
Right. Right.
great. So hold on to that integrity. Do what you do. Do it in a
Mhm.
capacity where you're not lying and you're not letting people off the hook for talking crap. Don't let someone call someone else that word
Yep.
without
Yep.
questioning it. Where did you
Well,
hear that? Or where's the proof behind that then? Especially someone that you're talking to and want to have an interview with to clear things up with. And
Right.
and then, you know, when you have that conversation, when you say, well, we agree on things, we agree on a lot of things, and maybe I use him,
Yeah.
maybe don't go back on his show the next Monday. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where we find ourselves now. Again, stepping out of this particular scenario, because we could get dragged down into it. There's a lot of people out there that are doing really great work.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, that are doing like really. They're not making any predictions, right? They may follow Q, but see, the problem with Q is that the problem hasn't come from Q. It's been people's interpretation of Q and trying to tell us when things are going to happen that Q said are going to happen. And I think Q has only given us like 3 dates ever. And there's even challenges as to whether those are actual dates or the military code, you know, or a different date, a Julian calendar, you know. And so there's a lot of interpretations there too. But the problem is that we're giving platforms to people that are continually confusing the people that are looking for real answers and real solutions. And to me, that's just it's tragic, because the people that are getting the most views are the people that are putting out the worst information.
yeah, sure.
And aligning themselves with people that are putting out bad information. Information that creates hope for a particular event or a particular time. And when that doesn't happen, those hopes are dashed.
This is the clickbait thing. So
Yeah.
many people will. That's how these people become like internet famous. They give these dates, which, by the way, when has any of them from any of these influencers ever come true? Ever, right? Ever. Name one, right? Put that down. Name one. Say it in the comments. Name one date that any of these people said will come true. And this is a great thing to say about, because there's a couple of things I want to touch on here. First of all is Dallas. You've got this negative 48 guy saying dead people are going to show up in Dallas on the anniversary of JFK's assassination, right?
Right.
Where people are coming from all over the country, not only all over the country, all over the world, to come and see JFK turn up on this date, JFK Jr. And you know, when I heard about this, I was like, "This is nonsense. Please don't go there. You know, this is not going to happen. If it was going to happen, it wouldn't be announced. You wouldn't have YouTubers, people saying all this stuff that it was going to happen. You would not hear about it on the grapevine. I'm sorry. If someone that's been dead for that many years is going to show up and be on TV, you will not have forewarning about it." And I just felt so bad. For all the people, because I heard then the stories, and not only have you got the stories of the people that you feel bad for, you've got the mainstream media attention that makes us all look like bloody idiots, right? Not only the movement, the 17 movement, which, you know, I'm not involved with, but you know, the truth movement on a whole as well. It's all boxed into the same thing. You know, you've got these cult leaders that are saying these dead people are going to show up. They didn't. You've got all of these poor people that are sitting there looking like, you know, idiots. I'm sorry to say, if you're listening and you went there. And and you know, and I don't want you to feel that way. You know, if you went there, okay, but please learn a lesson in discernment, because there's so many people out there would have told you, please just don't go. I mean, you can believe a lot of things out there, but this is not going to happen, because if it was,
chasing
we
ghosts.
wouldn't be told about it by this guy who turned up out of nowhere, by the way, spouting these numbers.
Yep.
I
So-
mean, I've got my own thing about gematria and that, but you know, with negative 48, guy's an absolute shield. Turned up from nowhere, and I think he's been planted to put a bad media spin on things, and that's
on
my opinion.
on the Q movement,
amongst
so
as well as the truth movement as well, because I think that MSM mainstream media is lumping us, lumping everyone together as all crazy people. Anyone doesn't believe what BBC, CNN says,
right? So we have people that are taking this jab around the world, being forced and or coerced into taking this jab, that are dying, that are dropping dead on pitches, on courts, on athletic events. They're dropping dead. And now they're coming after our children, 5 to 11-year-olds here in the US. They're withholding education, withholding employment, withholding restaurants and nightclubs and things. I have to leave the state of California here in the next, 6 months, 7 months, because I won't live in tyranny. I won't force my child to get a jab that I know is not safe and deadly. I'll give you 2.5 years ago, I did a 18-minute video ended up in the soaking rain, and explained the pandemic of the measles outbreak and how they took away our medical exemptions from vaccines. And then I said, they're coming for the adults next. So look for the next, pandemic. And I said that 2.5 years ago. And so when this CV hit, and I want to be careful what I say, because I don't want to, and I think I've been so far, but when this hit,
it's difficult, but
yeah. People were like, well, how did you know? How did you know? It's like, well, I've seen it before. I've seen it before. And the other day I said to my audience, I said, where are our history teachers that are holding their hand up and saying, wait a minute, guys, hold on, time out. We've seen this before in human history. Medical experiments forced upon the population, tyranny forced upon the population in the name of good for the population. And it has never turned out well. So with all of that happening worldwide right now, with Australia, marching, they don't have their guns, so they're marching peacefully to try to get rid of that tyranny. Austria, which rolled over
right now.
What's that?
Austria's a big one right now. Mandatory vaccinations for all. Are you kidding me?
And now they're locking down the entire population. Okay, and these were the people that rolled over when the Nazis came.
Mm-hmm.
And said, okay, all right, come on in. It's like we've been here in human history. So with all this happening, can you please explain to me how chasing ghosts in Dallas is helping anyone?
I mean, because obviously,
pisses me
crux
off.
Behind that is it's not, and it would piss you off, and it should piss anyone off that is actually thinking about this rationally, and anyone that cares about the truth, even if they thought there was an inkling it could be true, they don't turn up, don't make a massive media show of something that's pretty much bound to be an embarrassment, right? And I would have hoped that the collective would be more immune to this sort of stuff by now, and you know, maybe we underestimate how, you know, the power of these grifts. And this is why I do what I do, I suppose. People say, well, there's so many people that say the truth will come out in the end, so what the hell are you doing? Hang on a minute. When would the truth have come out about Greg Hallett, Charlie Ward, any of these people? When would it have come out? When it's too late? Would it come out in a year's time? When how many people's lives have they have ruined by that point? When is it coming out? The truth will come out in the end. By who? Who's going to expose that? Oh, I happen to be the one that did, or I happen to be one of the ones that did. Okay, so why are you having a go at me? Because you're saying the truth will come out in the end. Yeah, by people that wield the sword of truth, right?
Yeah.
So I happen to be that person. So you're telling me, well, you're just doing this, that, and the other. Well, if he is a shill, which I think he probably is. All right, so why are you doing this? Why are you saying these things to me? If I'm doing the world a service, right, and you are acknowledging that indirectly, but then saying, well, what are you doing for the movement? You're not doing anything. Hang on a minute, I am. You know, I might have even been the person that woke you up to this guy. And then you've forgotten that because you watched his 30 Reasons or whatever. You've forgotten that. You've forgotten who I was. You never subscribed to me because it was probably offensive to you at the time because you believed him and you were like, oh, well, I don't believe him. I'm not going to subscribe to this guy. But, you know, I might have been the guy.
Yeah.
But you're coming back at me saying, what are you doing? Well, what I'm doing has probably helped you in your subconscious, even if it was through other people waking up to this person saying he's a shill.
Yeah.
I might have been the person that sparked that person that told you he was a shill.
Yeah.
And you're saying, well, I already knew he was a shill. So what are you doing? Well, I did all of that. I did all of that research. I did all of that work. So what am I doing? I think what I'm doing is very valuable. And I think people underestimate that. I think there's a good deal of people that are acknowledging that. And I think that's, you know, but there are a lot of people out there that are asking that question. And it's
I tell you,
obviously frustrating.
I tell you why I have such I think a loyal following. And I don't really look at them as followers because, you know, I really look at them more as leaders because what we're talking about and the things we're doing is we're making phone calls. And, you know, because we're making phone calls, I had the state senator from Oklahoma on the other night on the show, who put a bill into his house that said in Oklahoma that if you're forced to take the jab, that and somebody has an adverse reaction to that jab, that you can sue the company that forced you to do that for a minimum of $1 million, which to me may seem like a very small thing, like this state senator in Oklahoma, but it causes a ripple, you know, because other states see that and other you know, countries see that. And they say, wait a minute. Yeah. Okay. Because I've been saying for a long time that the lawyers are making the decisions in corporate America. Okay. The lawyers are telling the owners of the companies, listen, if you force everybody to mask, you'll limit your liability. If you put stickers on the floor 6 feet apart, you'll limit your liability, because people are going to come and they're going to say, oh, I got this disease at this particular business.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. And if you force the jab, you're going to limit your liability. Well, guess what? We need to flip that liability towards the forcing of these things. And what Rob Standridge did in Oklahoma was said, okay, you're going to force them to do this. Well, the pharmaceutical companies, we can't go after them because they absolved all responsibility back in 1984 in the United States. And with all these contracts of these governments around the world, we've shown that too, that they've absolved themselves of any responsibility there either. And if they do get sued, then those countries have to pay for the Pfizer lawyers. Okay. So we have these situations where the pressure is on, the lawyers are saying you got to, you know, escape liability. Well, if we have the liability coming from a different direction, now the lawyers have to say to these business owners, and this hasn't happened yet, I'm hoping it, and they're not going to, he's trying to get a special session, but it's not going to happen until February because they won't allow a special session because they know they have to address that bill. And so if they pass this bill, then the corporations, their lawyers are now saying, hey, you're up, you could be sued for $1 million plus. So the business will now say, okay, we're not going to force it. And all of a sudden they're going to be saying, oh, we're going to leave it up to the individual's decision. Right. So with all these things happening, we need to be talking to the people and surrounding ourselves around with the people that are a part of the solution, and not chasing ghosts, and not, making the personalities more important than the actual war that we're in.
Yeah, than the mission. Yeah, let's not
Yeah.
put a person above what we're supposed to be doing, no matter how much you may idolize them, and no matter how much you may think that they're at the forefront. Because they're telling you they're at the forefront, that does not mean that there's so many out there now. It's so bad right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And really,
Which is
it does take people like us to have people listening. It's a war in itself. Yes, it's a smaller war than the overall war.
Yeah.
But there is a war going on within our own community, and that's what a lot of people don't understand.
And we're still going forward with all this baggage too. A lot of us, like it's like, and this is part of the awakening. When you're told by somebody that is the next big thing on the internet, hey, go to this place and you're going to see, and all this is going to happen, and it doesn't happen. How many of those people woke up and said, yep, never again, I'm not getting fooled? And they do exist.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what I was going to get to about like why I feel that my audience is so loyal is because I will not hesitate to just do that. Okay.
Sure.
Because, you're talking about the people that come at you and say, what are you doing for the truth community? And you can just be like, there you go. Okay. Because you're not going to get everybody. I'm not going to get everybody. I don't want to get everybody. I had somebody on, that I had on my show several times, and who tried to, I had somebody that, tried to take me out.
What do you mean by try to take you out?
Yeah, they were. I let them on the show. I gave them an audience, blew up their audience, like on Facebook. Like I had everybody follow them and the whole bit. And then when I started hearing some negative things, and I started seeing some negative things, and I challenged this person, in a private phone call.
Okay.
Then, she kind of saw the writing on the wall that maybe she wouldn't be a part of my future. She tried to take me down, and she was also with two other people. They all came in at the same time, and I exposed those two people as well. One was stealing valor, which is the reason why I have a problem with
We need
anybody.
to have a conversation about this behind the scenes, because I'm wondering whether it's the same person that's that their cult has come for me for mentioning something recently. But yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll have
stealing valor. Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason I brought that up is because they came out with such absurd things about me. And they were all easily proven wrong if you just did an ounce of investigation into what they were saying,
into their background, and
it didn't even need to get into their background, but if you just got into the things that they were saying about me, and just did 5 minutes of research, you would know that they were full of shit. And people said, well, why don't you go out and just address each thing and do it? And I'm like, listen, because you lost, like, I don't know, 1,000 people or whatever it was at the time, right? That started going on with them. And I was like, they did me a favor, because they got rid of the people.
Trimming the fat.
Trim the fat. That's
like what I said in the same situation. You trim the fat, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is you want the fat to listen. You want the fat to learn, But at the end of the day, some of these people are so, and I've learned this through my exposure of Charlie Ward, through Greg Hallett. There's some people that still to this day believe in Greg Hallett and will still say, well, he's a shill. Greg's going to come back. He's going to be our king. You know, there are some people that just will not learn.
And we got to let them go.
If they do, it's going to take a long, long time. And you have to leave them behind.
And people have come back.
Leave them behind because they're on their own journey.
People have come back and apologized.
You've tried. You can't influence that any. You can't accelerate the influence.
Yeah.
You know, you've tried. They've got all the information there at their doorstep. Leave them behind. They've got it there when they're ready. And that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. And they'll come back
and many have
hat in hand.
I'm sure you have. I've had comments saying, you know, okay, I need to apologize to you, Seeker. I left some horrible comments on your YouTube video 4 months ago. I've come back to apologize. And these are people, there's only a fraction of people, because how many people, it's like that whole supermarket experience. How many times do you tell people when I had a great shop today, got to the till, the cashier was lovely, I got all this. How many people that went to a shop and didn't get their butter and were an absolute arse about it? You know, where's the butter? Why have you not got no butter? And, you know, tell you what, I'm going to go on the internet. I'm going to tell everyone about how stupid your shop is. And it's that customer experience. People will always talk about the negative and give feedback on the negative much more than the positive. So this is why I'm saying thank you. Thank you so much. If you're listening now, to everyone that came back to my channel and said, I'm really sorry, Em, I gave you a hard time 4 months ago.
Yeah.
You were absolutely right. And you were actually nice. You know, you weren't horrible to me when I left horrible comments. And you just said things like, I really hope, you know, that you do come to your senses or something like that.
Yeah.
And they've come back and they've taken the time, because so many people wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
They just wouldn't. They'd be embarrassed. They just would not. So the fact that there is a multitude, there's a, you know, a lot of people that have done that.
Yeah.
You know, thank you for everyone that has come back and said,
like,
you know, I'm sorry, Em. I'm sorry that I said horrible things about you, because I've left them comments up as well. So if you go back and you look at my videos, there's people saying horrible things, but I know that they're not anything personal. They're literally like, "Oh, you horrible shill, like you piece of crap." It's just like they're just the things people are saying in anger.
And when you apologize, when you show the courage to apologize to me, forgiven.
Oh, more than anything. These people I put massively on a pedestal. You don't understand. Like I've got so much respect for them, because they are the people that show what I'm doing. All the people that say, "Oh, thank you for this," I respect them. Thank you so much. But that just says that, you know, you can listen to me and you can say, "Okay, well done." It might say things about your intelligence. It may say things about your, you know, you may even be one of those people that's easily led. So now you're being led by me. Who knows? The people that have literally spat venom at me and then come back to say, look, I'm so sorry. That takes a lot to say that.
Yeah.
And those people are, you know, I hold them in such high regard. And there's so many that I'm still in contact with that I talk to and know who they are out there. And you know who you are. I've talked to you. Thank you.
It doesn't mean that I'm letting them back in. You know what I mean? In terms of, like, you know, come on over for dinner kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's
for some people I would eventually.
I forgive. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I forgive you. I forgive you. And there's still going to be some distance between us, right? You know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, right? You know, so I'll be a little trepidatious maybe, but I do forgive you for what you did. But what I saw was a character trait that raised a red flag to me. And so that red flag is still there. Okay. To just, you know, proceed with caution. So maybe it's a yellow flag now, right? Or, you know, it's just a proceed with caution kind of thing. But I forgive and I respect that. I totally respect that.
I mean, for me, I think it drops a lot of guards for me, because as I said before, it takes, I think 99% of those people would
Will not
not
come
come
back.
back and
Will
admit
not
their
come back.
fault.
Or
So
they'll
that
sneak back
1% of
in.
people that does,
Yeah.
you
They'll
know,
sneak
I
back
wouldn't
in for
invite them for dinner, but I would
Yeah.
perhaps, you know, talk about what I would have for dinner, and you know, one day if we connect that way, we would, because they
because they've shown the character of saying, you know what, I was wrong. And that
takes so
goes a
much
long
guts,
way.
so
That
much
goes a
guts.
long way. Yeah.
It does. You know, it means more to me than necessarily the people that go, oh, you convinced me after one show.
Yeah.
Because those people, it took so much for them to come back 6 months later, watch a show, and go, you know what, I'm going to comment, I'm going to tell you about my story and about how I was horrible to you. There's so much involved there. There's so much admission. There's so much pouring out of them. They want to get off their chest. That is someone that's real. They may have been misled. That is someone that is real. And so, I'd almost, even if they were easily fooled to start with, almost much rather sit at dinner with them than someone that went, oh, I believed them, but you made one video. Now I believe you. I respect them and thank you to all of those people. But there's a whole different kind of like, I've got to put my heart on a plate out there about those other people. And that's, I respect that.
Yeah. Same.
So yeah, as you were talking about before, you were talking about failed predictions and learning from our past. You were talking about this on a big scale, like, learning from history. And I was just thinking, yes, but what about that in a more recent terms? So we're talking about all these people that are giving dates and giving times, and emergency broadcast system this, and tomorrow, the Dallas situation that we were talking about with JFK Jr., all of that stuff. So one recent thing that came up, and so I wanted to take what you were saying and what we were talking about and make it very recent, because this happens all the time. Like with Charlie Ward, it is next week is going to be the QFS, this, that, and the other.
Exciting times.
Exciting times. It's all pantomime. It's coming next week. Exciting stuff happened behind the scenes. All of these phrases you've heard over and over and over again. But this is just one person. So one person I've not really talked about much before, or at all before, really, is Utsava. Have you heard of her?
Who?
Utsava.
No.
She's like a card reader, and she's always been behind Charlie Ward. And when 30 Reasons came out, she was one of the people that were deleting the comments. I don't want to hear no more about it. I think she even did a video around it and said, is he trustworthy? Oh, my card says yes, he is. Let's not talk about it anymore. So she's one of these card readers, and she has made prediction
like tarot, like tarot cards,
like tarot cards.
Okay.
After prediction, and you know what? She's like 456 to 0 on her predictions to the negative. She never gets things right, but she's got still a massive following. What she does is she deletes her comments on YouTube. I don't think they're disabled still. She's one of these people that don't have it disabled. She just deletes them all, or anything negative. And I left, this is a Facebook post I got alerted to, and I left messages saying, this will not happen. Mark my words. Come back next week. Let's talk about it. This was left, I think, Tuesday last week, saying EBS imminent, emergency broadcast system is imminent. No internet for up to 3 days due to a switching to SpaceX free fast internet. Gazara. All this week expected. Have cash for 3 days. And this was put on her Facebook, I think on Tuesday, saying this was going to happen last week. And on Tuesday last week, I said, mark my words, this will not happen. Absolute fraud. I'd seen today, I checked, and she deleted those comments. She deletes any comments saying anything. But, I was trying to warn people. And in fact, I took this screenshot and I put it across all my social platforms and said, are you ready for this to not happen once again? And, when I'm saying these things, obviously there's an inkling of me is like, what if it happens? Like, what if in that week's time, because I know, and I'm right all the time, but I just don't, I would be gutted if the next day, and it's not, I'm not telling anyone listening to this that I believe that would ever happen, but what if the next day that there's something in my gut saying, oh, what? But I know that these people are charlatans, frauds. They are hooking you in with this false information. When I saw this, it's not going to happen. I knew it was not going to happen. I could tell everyone that was saying, oh, thank God this is happening. And I'm going, oh, please. And, you leave those emoticons, you leave those little sad faces. Oh, please don't believe this. What do you say to these people? How do you say that? And it'll get deleted 10 minutes later. So, like, how do you wake these people up? So all I can do is put it on my platform, right? And I can say, this is not going to happen. And hopefully the people that follow these sort of people will come and look at my platform and go, oh, yeah. Sava said that. It's going to happen this week. What an idiot for saying it's not going to happen. And it doesn't happen. They go, well, maybe MC could someone to listen to them. Not that is anyone could have made that prediction that this was not going to happen. Right. Anyone can make this prediction that it was going to happen, but these people need to be looked at with a greater scope. Because if they're saying this over and over again, and they have been for years now, where do you draw the line? Where do you say, okay, I'm going to stop sticking up for her? Because some of these people have probably done this 100 times already and said, you don't know what you're talking. I got this from in the comments. You don't know what you're talking about. Y'all better listen to Sava, because she's telling the truth and she knows what's going to happen, and this is going to happen. And I'm like, yeah, but no, it's not.
Yeah.
And it didn't, of course. And it never does. And this is like the 100th, 200th time that I've tried to point this out. So where do you draw the line? Because me and you would have, we've drawn the line a long time ago. Where do other people draw the line? It should be after what, the first, second, third, fourth. If you're going to stretch it, fifth time someone was wrong in a row, predicting these dates.
Well, I think that all the bad things that we're seeing happening right now, I think are a part of the awakening, right? And that we need to experience them. There's so many things that Q has said that just make so much damn sense, that if you just take some of the wisdom out of it, that you're better off. You're a better human just for taking some of the wisdom out of the Q drops. You don't have to get into the predictions or the people or the anything else. That's all interpretation from the actual drops. But if you look at, like, one of the things that Q has said is that you can't tell people. You must show them. And the people that you're talking about that keep going back into this Sarker, or this woman you're talking about, they have to be shown not to trust. They have to experience the false adulation that they were showing towards this person. And many of them suffer from a stubbornness that is the actual psychological evaluation of humanity that has allowed ourselves to be deceived. Because it's that wanting to hand over our power to another, wanting to put the, just a quick example. I had another situation that I got into business with somebody, and they really let me down, and it was more me working for them. It wasn't like we were peers. It was and my buddy said to me, how many times are you going to give your power over to somebody else and be disappointed? And he says, and not realize that that's on you. And he went on to say, you know, you give your power over to somebody else because if it fails, you can blame them. If it doesn't happen, you can blame them. You don't have to take responsibility for yourself.
Sure.
And this is a common thread. And this is from somebody that, you know, that has had successes and failures, both my friend and me. But enough to kind of realize that this is a teaching moment, right? And so these people, when is it enough for them? They have to experience it in a really tangible way, so that they don't go back to that well that people. I mean, it's the boy who cried wolf. These,
It
I mean,
is.
we're
Is that
talking
well, a
about.
hopium? That's what you want to say.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, you know, but it's also, you know, you cry wolf, and the townspeople won't trust you when it's real.
Yeah, well, the problem is the townspeople are giving them so many chances right now.
It's the boy cried wolf 50 times, and they're still going back.
They're still going back.
To help him. And it's like, you can break it down to everything I ever learned in kindergarten or whatever. I mean, you're the emperor who said you're the boy who said the emperor's got no clothes, you know, and, you know, you've got these people who are crying wolf, and people are still going back. These fables we could learn a lot from in this day and age, because it goes back to the fundamentals of humanity and how we move through this planet and this life as human beings. And if we go down to those fundamentals, then that's what keeps us away from getting caught up in this nonsense.
Absolutely. Now, you know, what you say articulates that so perfectly. Really does. One last thing I want to talk about before we close this down. It's been, you know, again, it's been one of those interviews where we could literally go on for hours and hours.
Yes.
And again, let's make it, you know, let's make another date for more of this. I really do enjoy talking with you, David. But the one last thing I want to talk about is, so what's been going on with you? So you went to Las Vegas to join many other influencers in this massive convergence of influencers over an event that was arranged by.
So let me be clear about my involvement in it. I wasn't invited.
Okay. Neither was I. I thought my invitation got lost in the mail, but
I think ours both did. It was.
I don't think they would have really appreciated my presence, but yeah. Anyway, let's talk about your experience.
So I was in Vegas for a completely different reason.
Oh, okay.
I went to Las Vegas because the company that I offer my audience 7K medals, they had an event in Las Vegas, and they asked me to be there for it. And I had some of my people that came there as well, some of my team that went. So I was getting together with these founders of 7K, like, because I wanted to connect with them and meet them, and they wanted to meet me, and like literally the owners and the founders, they call me, like they've been on my show. I mean, they're really great people. And so, like, I was just on the phone this morning with the owner of the insurance company that 7K offers, because insurance in the States is just, it's ridiculous. It's either free if you're below the poverty level, or even if you're just barely making it by, health insurance is absurd.
Sure.
And so they partnered with this company, and these guys have known each other for years, the owner. And so at any rate, not to get sidetracked, but I went to Vegas to be a part of 7K. And also the guy who makes my merchandise, Rob, he lives in Vegas, and I wanted to connect with him. And so and then when I was there, I knew that David Rodriguez was invited, and Dave and I have done some shows together, and we've become friends, and we you know, there's a trust we've built up, and we disagree on a lot of things, by the way, and even have it out about a lot of things. Okay.
Yeah.
And but that's also the sign of a friendship, when you can tell each other to fuck off and you can come back and have a conversation, right? And so so I was trying to connect with him, and he said he was at this event, which I knew he was going to this event. And so I went over to try to connect with him, and I was running a little late. And by the time I got there, he had gone. But that was the event that, and I also knew it was building up to be a Q event. And so I got in, I talked to one, they had security, they had the whole bit, and it was a really expensive event too. Like, I wouldn't have paid this money to go to this event.
Yeah.
And so I'm walking through, and I'm looking for Dave, and I didn't get his text until he's like, "Oh, dude, you just missed me," or whatever, until after. I had walked through, and I had met one of the guys who was directing it. He gave me his card and seemed like a really nice guy. But it was like a really upscale event. Like, people were dressed to the nines. It was in this like casino, this hotel, and but then I went from there to my team was doing some research on the Baldwin shooting, which had just happened.
Oh yeah. Big news.
And so I did a quick impromptu show from Vegas on the Baldwin situation, right? And so so at any rate, I come to find out that event that I had walked out of was basically kind of propping up 107. And that everyone was there all excited because they were going to get a chance to see this guy who I just have never had any respect for, because of him pretending to be JFK Jr. for a long time.
So here's the thing. I don't know if he ever pretended to be, but well, at some point he must have, but he never. All of these people saying, "Oh, he must be this, that, and the other." He never
denied it.
Yeah, and that's dishonesty. Yeah. That's indirect dishonesty. Yeah. And this is a conversation I had the other day. Oh, sorry, I don't want to. I want you to carry on with your story, but just to interject. Yeah. People talk about my video where I talked about him and perhaps him being some sort of puppet master, and they were like, I think you're right about all these grifters, but not 107, because he doesn't ask for money. Well, it appears he has money. And let's not forget the books he's selling. But it also appears that he's stringing these people together. It appears that he perhaps paid for people their accommodation to go to these events. So it appears he has money already. So maybe that's not his motivation. So what could be his motivation? If he's got, he clearly has a circle that he interacts with who are grifters. But people will not deny are grifters. People will not deny are making money off this movement. What's in it for him? There's the question. Is he genuine? If he was genuine, why would he be surrounding himself with people that are obviously not?
Yeah.
Anyway, carry on, please. Sorry.
Well, this goes back a ways, because he was he was a different. He was actually W intelligencer or something early on, and
Able Danger. People tell me.
Oh, and wait a minute. He was on a show, and I forget the dude's name. He was on a show a long time ago, and the dude was literally saying, hey, or JFK Jr., and he's like, and to this day,
maybe
even at the event, he's completely like what's Cassidy.
Carrie Cassidy. Yeah.
Carrie Cassidy. to this day. I mean, to me, she's just absolutely ruined her
I had
reputation.
so much respect for her. I loved her interviews. I loved her whole show.
Yeah.
10 years ago, 20 years ago, even when she first started, watching her
Dude,
from the beginning.
she was
Brilliant.
in this
And
game. She was in this
has
game
she
a
been
long time ago.
compromised,
Project
or is
Camelot,
she just has
doing
lost the mark?
doing great work.
I
And
mean,
her,
she was one of my heroes when I first started out with this stuff. Like, not
Yep.
even like 2 years ago.
yeah,
So started out being a influencer. Kerry Cassidy was one of those people that I thought, all these interviews, all this stuff, this deep diving into the world of the unknown and the unseen and stuff, and for her to be promoting the people that I am not debunking, the people that I am showing that are lying or are questionable.
Yeah.
For her to be saying this is JFK Jr. Come on, man. Come on,
I mean,
woman. This is like
she was at that event, man. She was at that event and talked to him in person and still thinks. And he said, plausible
I don't think she's dumb.
deniability
I
is
think she's been got hold
good.
of. I can't believe that she's that. I think that she's being controlled, and someone with her extensive library of talking to people.
Yeah.
It would perhaps make sense, I suppose. But what a shame.
And the thing that kills me is that people that have been in this game for a long time, okay, are allowing themselves to get dragged down by these newbies because of their audience and because of their draw.
Give them what they want.
Yeah. And so at any rate, I left that event, and I'm starting to get hit up by my two of my team, and they were saying, hey, we got this on the Baldwin thing, because I was saying we got to look at Baldwin closer. Something's going on there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw it, but it was so I do this report from Vegas that still to this day, I haven't heard anybody make the connections that I made on that night live. And then the news out of Vegas all was about 107. 107. Oh, he showed up in the pictures, and he looks like him. He kind of looked, hey, look at these pictures. They, and all the news was coming out about him and about that event. And instead of the things that we really should be talking about, the things that are happening in the world and the things that, and so to me, it was never more clear that it was more about the personality. But that's how we've gotten sucked in with Beyonce and Jay-Z, and
it's a mainstream media tactic. Look here, look at this big event, this personality. Forget about the mission. It's such a draw, isn't it?
I think I sent you that video, and I said, here's some real news coming out of Vegas, and I made the connection to the husband of Hutchins, who was killed, to Latham and Watkins. He was a lawyer for Latham and Watkins. She's from the Ukraine. Latham and Watkins was the law firm that defended the Ukraine in a lawsuit against 3 Cypriot companies that should have gotten $6 billion, but Latham and Watkins kept them from getting that money. So saved the piggy bank of the deep state, Ukraine, $6 billion. And Latham and Watkins is also the law firm of Michael Sussman, who was the major Russia collusion indictment by Durham. And so in my mind, that was an absolute assassination to show that, because I've been on a movie set and I explained this too. You don't have a gun firing on set that you haven't cleared at least 3 times.
Yeah. It's a safe, the world
with 4 different people.
Madness of health and safety these days. If anyone works in any job, the madness that goes on with health and safety, do you really believe that was, just an accident? Oh, we didn't check it.
Yeah. It was an
Come on. Look
assassination.
at health and safety these days. It is out of this world.
Yeah.
What they are
Yeah.
making us go through just to do a simple job. It's like, you're going to make tea. Let's do a risk assessment. You need to make sure the water is this degrees. The tea bag is in there. You know, this is probably a British thing.
So I've done
but,
this. I've done this. Every role that was done in that stream of events, I've done, with the exception of the armorer. So I've done every single. I've been the prop master on my own short films. I've been the first AD. I've been the director, and I've been the producer, and I've been the actor that was actually handed the weapon. Okay. So I've seen this many times. And the prop master and armorer check it in front of the first AD. Then they walk over to the actor. The first AD double checks it, and then they hand it to the actor, and they make sure that the actor does it himself.
Right.
So that the actor has the confidence to know that you're not going to take somebody else's word for this.
No.
You need to know yourself that this gun is not loaded. Okay. And if it is loaded, they're going to show you the blanks, and they're going to explain the blanks to you and show you the difference. So there's no way this was an accident. Okay. And you'd have to be a conspiracy theorist to think it was. Okay. Because that's a conspiracy. But here's the thing. Most people don't have that kind of knowledge. And I've had my friend called me up, and he said, dude, you were spot on. There's one thing is the first AD in all the shoots I've done has never done it himself. He just watches them do it. Right. And his first AD certainly isn't going to take the gun from the armorer prop master and walk it over to the actor. And he said, if the first AD did that to me, I'd be saying, what the hell are you doing with a gun? Like, why are you doing this? This isn't what you do. So it's that kind of just basic knowledge of a situation that we can call out and say, this doesn't go down like this.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially when you've been there, like yourself, David.
Yeah. 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 So when the focus is around the personality, we have to understand that that's not what this is about. It's not what this is about. It's not even about, I'm not big on even all these tours that people are doing. It's like a money grab to me. And yeah, we want to get out. We see, and I've done that. I've had a couple different events with Snedeheads, but it was like 17, 20 people, and it's not, and I'm not better because I have fewer people than somebody else. I'm not saying that there's no integrity in not being as successful as another person. But they're right. I mean, let's get that straight.
You're absolutely right. There's no integrity in that. There's integrity in a different way. You get loyal followers. You have loyal followers. They call themselves their own names. They call themselves Snedeheads. To have that, I'm sure you're very thankful. And these are people that follow real people. Everyone has their own cults. I say people that will follow people, unless they do something really bad, they will stick by them. And it's great to have people that stick by you. I've got my own that really root for me. You've got a great following. And I think
and you honor that. You honor that too. And I honor
I do. I do my best, in fact, to try and keep on top of comments. People give me thanks. I really do try, and people appreciate that. Coming from a culture where people disable their comments because they don't have time for their followers, or because they are scared of what they will say, or what people might say in their open forum. That is the culture that we are a part of now. I'm not we're not a part of that in the way that
Yeah.
we go along with that. In fact, if anything, I question that. I point that out, and people come on and they will give me hell in the comments. It's an open forum, guys. If you want to come on there and give me hell, go for it. But I'll tell you what, I've got a lot of loyal supporters that will go, hang on a minute, Karen.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me tell you, and that I respect you people. All you people going in my comments and saying, hang on a minute, Karen. Thank you for being there. Because I do leave my comments open.
Right.
I am a bit vulnerable in that.
I've never disabled comments. We've
And
kicked
what's the
people.
point?
We've kicked people out. I've kicked people out. Like if you're coming into the show, because I do a live show, if you're coming into the live show and you're an asshole, you're getting booted.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I've never deleted a comment.
Yeah,
People that are literally there to say this, that you're an asshole, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. Why am I going to entertain you? Like, if you've got something serious, and you will see this, if you go through my comments, if you've got something actually valuable to contest, you will watch me. If you go through my comments, you'll watch me then debate those people. I will spend my time talking to those people. In fact, these are the people you need to reach. These are the people that are, putting their neck out to have that conversation. So let's have a conversation. Let's talk
because
about
it's an open conversation. Like when they're coming in, they're just trolling. They have an agenda.
Exactly.
I'll
give them about 3
But if they're
comments.
coming in and they're like saying, "Wait a minute, what about this or what about that?" and you see it's genuine,
then that's great.
Yeah. That's phenomenal.
Those are the people you want to talk to. Those are the people you want to talk sense into, or have a conversation with. Those people you want to reach.
Yeah.
People that come in and say, but they pretend they watch your video.
Mm-hmm.
You've got absolutely no evidence here. I literally spent a whole hour of that video with evidence. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Watched that video. You've gone. You are against this person I idolize, so I'm going to tell you. These are the people that are like, you've not watched. You're not listening. Cognitive dissonance. That's what you're experiencing here.
Yeah.
You can only help these people so much, and the way you do that is you kind of go, I hope one day you will actually watch my video. I did. I watched it all the way through. Yeah, of course you did. But one day I hope that you'll feel better and you will take in other people's opinions. Well, you're just a horrible troll. Okay, you're arse. You're this, that, and the other. Okay, well, when do you draw the line? When do you say this person's not going to listen to me? They're a troll. I don't do that easily. It's only when they start just calling you names, comment after comment, when you start to think this person needs to be, you can't have them just, not paying attention to facts. And just insulting you. It becomes noise.
My mod squad, as I call them, they do you remember that show from the 70s? You're young, but
before my time, but it depends because I'm I like to watch shows of the past.
Oh, the Mod Squad was awesome. It was like three guys, a beautiful lady, and 2 dudes, one white guy, one black guy, and they were a team, like they were detectives, like they were a team. And they were called the Mod Squad, right? And so I call my team the Mod Squad because they're mods in the different platforms. They'll always give somebody a first and second chance.
Give them a chance, yeah.
Hey, listen, come on, just listen to him or listen to what he has to say, and you're free to, But I always just say, open your mind and be kind. That's all we ask. Just open your mind and be kind. And we're going to talk about some stuff that you may not agree with, or you may have a really serious opinion about.
You got to think about the people watching in as well. The people watching in those conversations are thinking, who's the bad guy here? Is it the people that's listening to this person's opinion? Because when you shut down people's opinions immediately, you become the suspicious one. Which is what's happening and what should happen. Great. Which is what's happening with many influencers right now. They are disabling comments. Instant suspect. I don't do that. I've just said, I've said to you guys, when the trolling gets bad, this guy is a troll. I'll delete them. But
And-
if you go through comments, you will see me having conversations with many people that disagree with me. That shows you that I'm not deleting all those comments, right? Obviously, there comes a point where
and
you
I've
have
seen
to
that, and I've seen that in your comments.
There's so many people that disagree,
Yeah.
but there is so many people that not only agree, but there's so many people that have said, "Thank you for showing me this."
Yeah,
That is where it's at.
Yeah.
That is where the value is at. Those people that go, you know what? I felt
Yeah.
this way before that video,
Yeah.
and now I feel this way after watching this video.
Yeah.
That is where the you know.
Yeah, and by the way, the excuse of I have too many comments and I don't have the time to get back to them is not an excuse for turning off your comments, because I don't do that. I don't
You
respond
could
to
just
most
not reply to the comments. You just let them flow, right?
I'm not involved in that conversation. I don't have time for that conversation, and they know that. But my mods will, or other people, other Snedheads will have that conversation. And
Same with me.
there's like there's a Telegram, there's a Facebook, and there's I think a Gab of Snedhead, fan page
Other
thing.
people will talk, won't they?
Yeah, well, they'll talk amongst
you.
themselves. Yeah.
It comes to that, but you might make a comment because you're drawn into the conversation. People will talk for you.
And I get like, I got a text just today, this morning, from a Snedhead in Nashville, and she got together with another Snedhead, and and they sent me a picture of both of them, and I said, yeah, I love you too, so I get that a lot, and I love that, because people are connecting, in a really, really beautiful space. And by the way, Snedhead, and like the whole, thing is that when people started coming out with this, I was like, listen, it sounds like a little, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with this, but if Snedhead is like a free thinker, like if the definition of it is discerning, free thinking, okay, not going to fall for bullshit, not going to fall for indoctrination anymore. If and loving and wanting to spread joy and love, and if that's the definition, like if we can agree on that, then I'm okay with it.
I get that. You're going to worry that it's going to seem cult-like, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I mean, even on a smaller scale, much, much, much smaller scale, for me, people calling themselves M's Gems, and it's just like it's just an affectionate way of saying, we really support you.
We support you.
So again, people have to differentiate from that. People, Snedheads, they're a cult, or M's Gems, they're a cult of M followers. No, they're not a cult. There's people that really support us, and there's a difference. And I can tell you, and I have done in my videos, difference between a cult and the difference between people that are following people for genuine reasons. And I think on that note, David, we should leave this one and definitely come back to talk another day. What do you think?
Awesome. Yeah. Great stuff, man. Thank you. Thanks for the time. It's always great enlightening to spend some time with you.
Absolutely. It always is. And like I say, we need to be better. I tried it this time for people watching. The last thing I'll say, we both logged in and I said, before we start, because let's not do 2 hours off and 2 hours on.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say before, and it's not at all. I'm not saying it's all David's fault. I said, anything you want to say off air, and then we'll go straight on air.
Yeah.
Because you know what? I'll say this, then we'll go on air. And I went, I'll say this, then we'll go on air. And then it went into a massive conversation.
Yeah.
Always have a good conversation with you, David. And
awesome.
We need to record. Next time we talk, we'll just press record.
We'll do that.
And I'll tell you what, I'll edit out anything we don't want to be shared.
Yeah. Perfect. Let's do that.
We had this whole conversation about hot topics.
Yeah.
Before we even came on. Flat Earth, Admiral Byrd, Hollow Earth. I mean, so much. And I said, you know what? I wish we'd have recorded this.
Yep. That's good stuff.
Maybe next time.
Yeah.
You guys look forward to.
We talked about 45 minutes. We talked about 45 minutes. We went over 2 hours, but I think you and I were 45 minutes, but I think Intel lady, she put us over the hump there.
Do not blame Lieman
What?
Sharks.
Come on, Lieman Sharks just drones on and on.
Oh, Lieman Sharks does, but it's always comedy. It's always brilliant.
No, that was
It was great to connect you as well. You know, I can give you her details. You can
please do
reach out.
It was a beautiful surprise. It was a beautiful surprise that you dropped on me today.
I did this. I had this surprise planned, and then we talked for ages. We were both late on the stream, and then we talked for ages. And I was thinking, God, I've planned this surprise. What am I going to do? Because anyway, it was great. It worked out in the end. Lieman Sharks came on.
Yeah.
Gave us what for, but it was great to see. I'll connect you to Intel Lady if you want to.
That'd be great.
Talk to her more, do an interview, whatever. Great.
Great.
Should be thankful. As always, David, great conversation, guys. David's links are in the description. Go on doctrination.com. It's in the description. Also his YouTube channel for ease of subscribing there. And Intel Lady 2, go check that out. And as always, David, been brilliant, and we'll do it again.
Thanks, Sam. Great. Keep up the great work, man. Doing some great stuff.
As always, same to you. Thanks, guys, for watching, and follow M Secret Truth. As always. Absolutely. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care.